In this episode of Detroit Performs, a basket weaver, a muralist, and weaving tight relationships. It's all ahead on this edition of Detroit Performs.
Funding for Detroit Performs is provided by Masco Corporation is proud to manufacture innovative and environmentally friendly products for the home. Delta faucets, craft-made in Maryland cabinets, and Behr brand paints have all been designed with you in mind. Masco and its family of companies, serving Michigan communities since 1929. Funding is also provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs, the National Endowment for the Arts, the A. Paul and Carol C. Scott Foundation, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Detroit Performs. I'm your host, DJ Oliver, and today, as you can see, I'm about to get my art on here at Painting with a Twist in Detroit. Now I'll be learning how to paint, and I'll talk to the owner later in the show. But right now, let's get to our first artist. Kelly Church is a Blackish Basket weaver who was recently recognized by the National Heritage Fellowship Award. Take a look.
My name is Kelly Church. I'm from Hopkins, Michigan, and I'm an NEA National Heritage Fellow. For Native people, Blackish baskets have always been an important way to honor someone. So they give them away as gifts. When somebody has a baby, you'll want to have a baby basket. When someone passes away, occasionally I'll be asked to make strawberry baskets. And when people get married, they'll ask for wedding baskets. So baskets have just been an important part of our life. Blackish basket weaving is it's a tradition that brings us all together. It teaches us patience. It teaches us to work together as a family, as communities. It's been a tradition among our Anishinaabe people for thousands of years. I'm Ottawa and Potawatomi, so my grandmother was part of the Grand Traverse Band. And my grandfather was from the Grand River, Ottawa, and the Matchi-Benashewish Band here in town. And my family is enrolled in the Matchi-Benashewish Band. Blackish baskets are made by going into the woods and harvesting that tree. First, we lay down some tobacco, and we offer thanks to all of our ancestors that passed on these teachings. We cut it down into logs about 6 to 8 feet long, and then we put them over our shoulders and we walk out of the woods. We debark it 2 inches in width from end to end on the log with a draw shave. We scrape it off, and then we pound it with the backside of a really old axe. And it makes this beautiful, beautiful resounding noise that is just, it's an amazing noise, and we just love to hear that. And so when we pound on it, it separates the fibers in between the growth rings. The growth rings pop up. We take each growth ring, split them apart, and then I shave them with the backside of a knife, and then we're finally ready to weave our beautiful baskets. So preparation is 75% of what we do, and the weaving is about 25%. I like to do my basket weaving in my living room, at my home. I open the windows, I listen to the birds. If it's, not too bad of a day outside, when my husband's pounding, then we can, do some work outside. And also, there's a community hall named Monterey Hall that we've been meeting at for 15 years as families. Those are the places that I like to weave, and I can weave anywhere. I can weave in my car even, so I just love to weave.
When I watch my mother weave, I see a totally different side of her, actually. She's very calm and collected and driven. She's excited to see how it will turn out, and she's excited to show. She's got like a 5-year-old's excitement, and she's like, oh, look how this turned out. I don't know, it's my mom at her purest form. I really enjoy seeing that.
I'm really well known for weaving strawberry blossom baskets, top hats. I do these little eggs called Fabergé eggs, based on the Fabergé egg. Everybody loves something beautiful and shiny. And so I weave Fabergé eggs and I incorporate metal into them. And the metals just show that we're losing our material and we're going to have to find other materials to continue our weaving traditions. Blackish basket weaving is becoming a lost art due to the emerald ash borer. It has slowly decimated almost all of the trees in the lower peninsula. A black ash stand can be totally decimated by the emerald ash borer in 3 to 5 years. So once it hits a stand, it's going to be on a steady decline until it's gone. So I like to look at it glass half full. You know, there's 99% of our ash trees dying, 1% are living. 1% are living. So I like everybody to hear that. They're not all dead, and hopefully our trees will gain resistance to the emerald ash borer.
She's a perfect example of what she's been doing in her native community in particular, but for the state in general. And it's not just the incredible art that she makes, because Kelly saw that that was happening and was concerned and actually started collecting seeds and information on those trees, because she didn't want to lose that tradition that they have in the native community of using that black ash for her weaving. But what that did for the state, and you think about the science that's involved in that, I mean, my word, what a service she did just by thinking about where her art fits into her community and the state at large.
For me, receiving the Heritage Fellowship from the National Endowment for the Arts means so much. It means I am so thankful. I am grateful to all of those that have the awards available for us to practice our traditional arts, to be recognized for our traditional arts. And it's an honor to be recognized for such a awesome award.
I nominated my mother for the award, so having her receive it, I don't know, it felt like a natural conclusion. I felt like she was a shoo-in. I know for her, she sees herself as this one small part in a large cog of all these people working together with this resource and with these traditions and passing them on. But I don't think she realizes that from the outside looking in, she's one of the centerpieces of this entire community.
All right, I think my background is just about dry. All right, up next is Don Kilpatrick III, whose murals can be seen all over Detroit, including the new Little Caesars Arena. Let's learn a little bit more about Kilpatrick right now.
I've been creating art ever since I can remember. It's something that I've always done, whether it's as an illustrator, whether it's, I'm a professor, I teach at the College for Creative Studies. All these different sides to me, I think you can find in my work in one way or another. When I was living out west, I drove out to the middle of nowhere in Wyoming and bought a press. I love wood type, I love typography and everything associated with that, but I was really approaching it from the idea of how can I reproduce an image in a way that would be unique and have potentially more than one original. The block itself and the printed object. In many cases, we don't have examples, for example, of easel paintings from the Roman period, but we have examples of relief carving, of relief sculpture. And there's a background in printmaking and relief printing and illustration, and that's where that was my entry point into this art form, but I like the physicality of it as well. I feel that I either make it work when I carve it in one block, or it doesn't work at all. And I think it can be very unforgiving, but yet it's very versatile as well. Looking at all these different ways in which I could make a print, I figured, why not do a carving on a rolling pin? Why not try a pair of shoes? I'm using my body as the press, for example. My background, I'm Mormon, and I feel that I've tried to take and put a little bit of that into my work in a way that wasn't necessarily so obvious to at first glance. For example, I was a Mormon missionary in Ukraine, and I have a deep love for Ukrainian culture, for Russian culture, and there's elements of that culture that you'll find in my work, especially in my larger woodcuts that depict, it's the epic of Yuri Gagarin. Yuri Gagarin being the first person in space, the idea of the spacesuit and this self-contained little universe that you're traveling in and going through space and time in, and I thought that was a nice, it was very analogous to what we travel through in this life. It's, you have this self-contained little universe that you experience things with, the sense of the body, which is very central to my faith. The idea of the soul and the spirit combined with the physical body, that's very central to a lot of the teachings, for example, in my faith. The Little Caesars Arena murals came about through a friend of mine who I know pretty well, is an art director at Little Caesars or Olympia Entertainment, and he contacted me after viewing some of my personal work that I was posting on Instagram. I was posting do a lot of sketchbook painting, and I was just doing a lot of things just for the fun of it, posting it. He saw that, and he proposed this idea to his bosses of taking the north-facing wall of the arena and having it be paintings of Detroit sports legends and Detroit music legends, and asked me if I would be interested, and I really was honored that he asked, because it was really me doing what I love to do. When I'm not carving away, I love to paint. I do see what I'm creating as being part of the resurgence of analog culture, of like a hand-wound watch or a fountain pen or a pair of boots that coal miners might have worn in 1910. I think there's a time-tested quality to these objects, and to printmaking in particular. You go to a museum and a lot of the work that you see that's thousands of years old, we know that wood will last. We know that it's going to be around hundreds, if not thousands of years from now, because we have evidence of it in major museums across the world. And that's what attracted me to woodcut, is the idea that if I'm really taking my time with my choice of substrate, and I'm really taking my time with that, I can create something that hopefully is going to be here long after I'm gone. I guess maybe that's not the hope for everyone, but that's one of the hopes I have as an artist, is that something of me lives on long after I'm gone. And I feel that we know with these time-tested technologies that they're going to be here. And again, there's just a satisfaction to putting a needle to a record, to an old-fashioned Zippo lighter. The physicality of that and the satisfaction of having that as part of your ritual of what you do as a human being, I think is great. And being able to pass that on to a younger generation is really, I think, a critical part of what I do in my practice. Is I want those younger than me to take and find that same satisfaction, so that I can have that insurance policy, if you will, that it's going to be around. I don't think it's interesting if everything is, if everybody's tapping on glass all the time. I think it's great, but I think it's not as satisfying. I think there's a whole other level of existence as a human being. It's really taking the time with things and slowing down and enjoying the moment, and actually, being able to rub your hands or feel the relief on a sculpture, or that tactile quality. It's just, how can you get that quality and pass that on as an artist is what I'm trying to do ultimately.
What's up, guys? I am here with the co-owners of Painting with a Twist. They are sisters, Michelle and Donna Lewis. How you doing, ladies?
Wonderful.
Great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So how did you guys get into franchising Painting with a Twist?
Well, it was such a wonderful concept. I actually ran upon our corporate studio, let me say, in New Orleans.
Okay.
I was down there working, and a friend of mine invited me to come out and share, an evening with her painting at Painting with a Twist, and I just fell in love with it. And I thought, what a wonderful concept to bring back home to Detroit.
So what is the mission of Painting with a Twist?
We want people to come have a great time with us. And of course, the twist can mean a lot of different things. It can mean bring your own beer or wine with you while you paint. And the other thing is just put your own twist on your artwork.
Okay.
And that's the biggest thing that we want people to bring to Painting with a Twist, is their own creativity.
So what's been the response from Ferndale and Detroit? You guys have 2 different shops or more than that?
Actually, we own and manage 3 locations.
Okay.
So there's Ferndale, Farmington, and Detroit. The Ferndale location was the first one to open up in Michigan, and that opened a little more than 8 years ago. The Detroit location opened a little more than 3 years ago, and we've been going strong ever since.
Anybody that comes through our door is family. We call people that come to paint with us twisters. So yes, that's what we're calling them. And everybody is welcome to Painting with a Twist, of course, 7 years and up, depending on the day. But it's just the atmosphere where you get to just be your own self. It's no judgment zone here.
All right.
Just feel free to be yourself.
I like that. All right, ladies, so talk about the process of what you do here at Painting with a Twist. What start to finish, what do you do?
We have our fabulous artist that's on stage that's going to walk you step by step on a feature painting for that particular night. So just keep in mind, we have over 10,000 paintings in our gallery from you to choose from. We also have floor artists to walk around and help you out with your creation.
Okay.
So it's pretty much, we're in this together,
So what has been the response, ladies, from people once they get done with their projects here?
They are amazed at what they have created. We have people that come in and when they leave, they're as happy as can be because they created something that they're gonna hang on their wall.
So also too, you guys being sisters and you guys owning your own franchise, that's pretty powerful in the city of Detroit. So can you talk about that? What that means to you guys?
I didn't know how much it meant to the city initially. I didn't realize the impact it had coming into downtown. We got a chance to speak with Councilwoman President Brenda Jones, and she really expressed how much it meant being 2 women, African American women, coming into the city, and that's when I began to see this thing is really, it's bigger than just, you and I, and it means a lot by showing people it can be done.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't see people of color owning their business downtown, but this is proof, and it's showing that it is so.
Okay, I'd like to hear that. Well, Michelle and Donna, thank you so much for talking to us here on Detroit Performs. We appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, now let's check out some upcoming events happening in and around the D. The Weavers Guild of Greater Cincinnati, Ohio offers classes, workshops, and programs to people of all skill levels. Its 200 members share a mission to preserve the ancient craft of fiber arts. We visit them in their mid-19th century house they call home.
The Weavers Guild of Greater Cincinnati is a fiber arts organization. We promote the fiber arts in and around Cincinnati. We have around 200 members right now. We have members from as far away as Indiana, Kentucky, and Dayton. So there are people that will travel up to an hour or two to participate in things that we do.
The Guild started in 1948 at the Cincinnati Art Museum. There were a group of women. Many of them were doctors' wives, and they decided to teach weaving classes. And then it got a little messy for the art museum, so they didn't want us there anymore. We used to meet at different church meeting rooms. We moved around the city for several years. And then That got too big, so that's when we started looking for a house. The people behind us owned the house and they used it for storage, and they sold it to us for $50,000. And it's a wonderful house. There was a lot of work that had to be done. It took us about 2 or 3 years to really get it in shape where we could have meetings there. And so we've owned the house for 20 years now, and it's become a wonderful home for the Guild.
It costs $50 to join for a year. We offer a lot of beginner classes, and then once you've taken those, you can study things on your own or with the different study groups and figure out different structures and techniques. And we'll have workshops where teachers will travel in and you can do an intensive weekend learning a new technique. We have at least 3 or 4 study groups that are just on different aspects of weaving. So we have the floor loom weavers, and there's rug weavers, and there's dish towel weavers, and so there's all different kinds of structure too that people will focus on. Then we also have a rigid heddle group, which is a smaller tabletop loom, or you can get a stand for it, but it's really just a 2-shed loom. The circular loom is kind of fun. You warp it with everything crossing in the center, and this particular loom that I'll be using has kind of ridges that you just wrap your warp around, so it's pretty quick to go on. And then you just use a needle or your fingers to go over and under in whatever pattern that you want to use. So I'm planning to do kind of a twill pattern that'll end up looking like a spiral.
I started taking a weaving class 50 years ago and became very active in the Guild. It's a really nice organization. It's a very giving group of people. If someone has a problem, everybody seems to be willing to help wherever they can.
When I first joined the Guild, it was to interact with adults while my kids were young and kind of mental health, and it's become so much more than that to me. It's such an exchange of knowledge and ideas and creativity, and it really does boost you, beyond what you think you are as an artist. When you hear about a new idea or something that sounds exciting and mention it, there's probably other people in the Guild who've already done it or who are at least interested in experimenting and trying it with you. Every November we put on a fiber sale. It's always the second weekend of November. It's just a chance for all of our members to make some things for sale, make back some of your yarn money maybe, and just really share what we do. People can walk in the house, see all the different types of things that are for sale: scarves, dish towels, rugs, garments, hats, mittens, ornaments, sculpture pieces, wall hangings. I mean, just everything that we do is represented here at the sale, and it's very well attended. Rock Day is a program that we put on for Guild members, by Guild members. So it's a day of classes that's free to members. This year, every room in the house will be filled with a class and a teacher going on all day. So we'll have different techniques being taught: silk dyeing, ply splitting, loop braiding, even an egg dyeing workshop. Rock Day is also known as St. Distaff Day. It's an old day dating back to medieval times. It's the 13th day after Christmas, where women would take up their household work of spinning and weaving clothes for the family. So this is how we celebrate it, is early in January. We get back together as a Guild and have our meeting that day and teach each other new techniques. I think that Cincinnati has a very vibrant art scene. So having the Weavers Guild here and part of the fabric of the city since 1948, it's just been a long part of our history. I would love to just see the Guild continue on, to get more younger people involved in the fiber arts. It's become such a digital world nowadays that it's really nice to have this tactile, hands-on activity. I think it's really good for our bodies and brains and our mental and emotional health to have something artistic and something that we do with our hands and not to be totally disconnected from the physical world. So it's my hope that the Weavers Guild will just keep on going and mentoring and teaching new people these old skills.
Oh, my painting is almost complete, y'all. Get this, I get to be an artist and take my own painting home with me to hang up in my own crib. That is what's up. That wraps it up for this edition of Detroit Performs. As always, for more arts and culture, head to DetroitPerforms.org, where you'll find featured videos, blogs, and information on upcoming arts events. Also, check us out on Facebook and Twitter. I'd like to thank Painting with a Twist Detroit for having me here on the session today. Get out here and create your own Painting with a Twist. Until next Tuesday, get out there and show the world how Detroit performs, y'all. I'm DJ Oliver. Thanks for watching, guys.
Funding for Detroit Performs is provided by Masco Corporation is proud to manufacture innovative and environmentally friendly products for the home. Delta Faucets, craft-made in Merillat cabinets, and Behr brand paints have all been designed with you in mind. Masco and its family of companies, serving Michigan communities since 1929. Funding is also provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs, the National Endowment for the Arts, the A. Paul and Carol C. Scott Foundation, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.